Photography is special to me because it's just something I've always wanted to do since a very young age. I took maybe the first meaningful photograph for myself when I was 12 years old of when they were filming Viva Max in front of the Alamo. I snuck in there with my little plastic Diana camera and got a great black and white shot of Jonathan Winters and Peter Houston rehearsing in front of the Alamo. From that point on, I just always felt like I wanted to be a photographer. I didn't think it was going to be a career until much later. When I first got started, I was in high school. It was my sophomore year, and I got an opportunity to go to a Led Zeppelin concert, and I decided I would take the school's equipment and take pictures at the concert. Little did I know that it started me on a career of doing photography, and it started me doing photos at rock and roll concerts, which I did religiously for almost 10 years, and it opened a lot of doors. And once I graduated high school, I went to work for a commercial photo lab for 4 or 5 years, and eventually segued into doing commercial photography, which was necessary to support myself. And I was very fortunate. Back in 1985, I began doing photos for the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center. And that totally opened up my eyes to my Mexican-American culture. And so all the music I used to hear my dad play in his shop while he would be doing woodworking on KDA radio, well, I was meeting all those conjunto greats at the Conjunto Festival and photographing them. And all that experience I learned photographing rock and roll artists live came in so handy when I started taking pictures of conjunto musicians and the Conjunto Festival, and then eventually Tejano musicians shooting their CD covers for the record companies, and eventually meeting Selena. And all this time, I was also covering Fiesta, and part of Fiesta was the Chareado, which I immediately fell in love with back in 1981 when I went to my very first Chareado. And I made it my mission to just document it as much and as often as I could. Which eventually I was able to produce a book on. And just over the years, I've just constantly been, working on documenting the important people in our culture here in San Antonio. I have a long-running retrato series that I still work on of people that are important to the culture of San Antonio. Artists, musicians, politicians, entrepreneurs, all kinds of people are represented in the book and in the exhibit. One of the most important photos in the exhibit is on the cover of my book, Mi Cultura. It features a portrait I did of my Tia Lupe in her bedroom with the Virgen de Guadalupe on the bedspread. And the reason that photo is so important is because my culture is my family. To me, it's not about trying to tell the world a story, it's more about trying to tell you a story. To try and tell the individual that's looking at the photo that there's a story there with that photo, that they're going to want to know.